your holidays, isn't it? Been quite some time. So it's extended holidays for the last more than 2 months. You've been enjoying your holidays. So with what you have been enjoying? Most of the time you are on the mobile, isn't it? Isn't it? So we have seen different things. Apart from that, during the holidays we have sent you. Hope you have done all those things that you have learnt, isn't it? We asked you to do certain things. Apart from your regular homeworks, I hope you have used your time judiciously and enjoyed, isn't it? So, who am I? I am your Radhika teacher, teaching biology in Dr.Besant English Medium School. Okay. See, till now we have only sent you all the homeworks. You have been doing homeworks only for whatever you have learnt in 8th class. Based on that, you have to write so much and send to us. Pictures we have to correct, we have to send the feedback, everything. But now it's a different scenario. Since the holidays could extend for a longer period, we are going to send some videos. So please see the complete video, watch it completely, and then tell whether you liked it, understood or not. Any problem is there, you can discuss with your parents and send us the feedback. Okay. So, as part of this, I am going to start with your new 9th class syllabus. What you are going to study in 9th class? Okay. In 8th class, before going into that, in 8th class what you had studied as the second chapter? Most of you are busy only with the cell, isn't it? So now we will see a different version of the chapter cell, isn't it? Till now you have been only enjoying the physical cell. But is that all? Or are you aware of the other cell? In 8th class you have studied that each and every organism in the world is made up of cell. Do you agree or not? Okay, why do I have to talk about the cell now so much? So it's not only the first part of the first lesson of your 9th class syllabus. Apart from that, it is a very important thing now. Okay, already in 8th class so many times I have discussed with you all. Now the very pandemic we are going through is because of is it an organism? Can you say it is an organism? Do you agree what we had studied in 8th class? It's neither living nor non-living, in the borderline, but it is controlling the whole world, isn't it? So what is that? So it is practically not even made up of a cell, isn't it? The only organisms that are not made up of a cell, so we don't even call them as organisms. Okay, so the virus, we had studied so much about the virus in 8th class, but now apart from that, see, it does not have a proper cell, but only the most important thing in the cell that it is having. With that, it is able to control the whole world. So just we will have a quick recapitulation of what we had studied in 8th class. What did we study in 8th class about the cell? The first cell was discovered by, who discovered the cell for the first time? So the name of the chapter is Cell, its Structure and Functions. So according to what you have studied, if you can recollect, who discovered the cell for the first time? Who discovered the cell? So if you remember, it is Robert Hooke. Where did he discover? Where did he discover the cell? He discovered the cells in cork of oak tree, isn't it? What is cork? The dry outer part of the bark that was being used as a cork earlier to close the bottles tightly, isn't it? That's how the cork was available. So when he observed the slices of that, he could observe, what could he observe if you recollect? He could observe many hexagonal shaped chambers throughout the throughout the slide. So that was the first time they could use the microscope. Under what he could observe? He could observe under the microscope, isn't it? In detail, we have studied about the different parts of the microscope. We have used microscopes in our lab also to observe many specimens in the lab. So now I will not go in detail about the microscope, but Robert Hooke could observe all this in the microscope, which were hexagonal in shape and appeared just like many cells. Okay, cells are what? They are the small units in which earlier the disciples used to stay. Okay, the scholars who read Buddhism and all, they used to stay in such small cells. So based on that, he gave the cell name. Okay, so apart from that, we had studied that the cell contains, what does the cell contain according to what you have studied? Is it the same in all the organisms? And within the human being also, is it the same? Are all cells of the same shape, size and all? Are the cells of the plant cell and animal cell same? Do you remember? Are they same? Plant cell and animal cell? No. Okay. How could you distinguish between an animal cell and a plant cell? If you could recollect, we had studied basic differences between a plant cell and an animal cell. What are those basic differences? A plant cell has got an extra protection, isn't it? A plant cell has got an extra protection, that is the cell wall. If you could recollect, we had drawn for all the examination, and even during your holidays also you had to practice the diagram of plant cell, isn't it? So typically a plant cell has an extra protective layer, that is the cell wall, if you can recollect. Okay, whereas an animal cell doesn't have the cell wall. Okay, why does it have that cell wall? Last year we had studied. Again, later in detail we shall be studying. I will not go in detail for that. Why it is there, all that we shall study in detail again about the cell wall when I teach. For now, so here I have got a few color chalk pieces also to denote all that. So those color chalk pieces I am going to use to draw the different parts of the cell. Okay, so the outermost layer is the cell wall, okay, which is very important. Whereas the second most important point that we had studied between the plant cell and the animal cell is the large vacuole, if you remember. Okay, a large vacuole is present in the plant cell. Whereas in the animal cell, the vacuoles may or may not be present because they don't need. Why do you think so, the vacuole? In detail, though we shall study later, the vacuole stores the food material in the plants, whereas the animals don't have to store the food materials in the cells, so they don't need a vacuole, except for some organisms. Okay, like the small amoeba that we have studied in 8th class. So they may have few temporary small sized vacuoles. So the basic difference is, the second one is what? Vacuole, which is absent here in the animal cell. Okay, what else is there in the plant cell? Many chloroplasts. Okay, so these are the structures which the plants have to prepare the food. That's why they are present in the plant cells. So again, the chloroplast is absent in the animal cell. Why do you think again? The chloroplast is nothing but the organelle which prepares the food for the plants, whereas the animals don't have to prepare the food. They depend on the plants for the food. So these are the basic differences that we had studied are there between the plant cell and the animal cell. Apart from that, the other parts like the nucleus and other things, only the four structures that you had studied in the In each class are these. That is cell wall. The second layer that is present under the cell wall is the cell membrane. Do you remember? Okay, which is present both in the plant cells and the animal cells. Okay, the nucleus is present in both. These are the only structures that you had studied in your 8th class. Understood? So what are the differences that we had studied between the plant cell and the animal cell? In the plants there is a cell wall which is absent in the animal cell. Inner to that the cell membrane is common between the plant cell and the animal cell. Then there could be a large vacuole that is present only in the plant cells and absent in the animal cells. Nucleus is common to all the cells. Okay, even the virus would have a nucleus like structure because that is the most important thing. Later we shall discuss about this. Okay, then the chloroplasts are present in the plant cells which are absent in the animal cells. So these are the few things that you had studied in your 8th class. Can you recollect? Okay, if you have recollected, then we could go further. Okay, when you want to start for your 9th class, you need to have a white long notebook, pen, pencil, eraser, whatever stationery is required for a biology class, that you need to keep. Understood? You need to have a running notes and along with that textbook and your workbook.